You've talked a little bit about critiquing apologetics. To me, like I've kind of skimmed over some of the basics of it and barely know enough to interview you right now. But there's some sort of a level set of someone being conversant on the issues. What does that level set like entail? Like how do you get to that point where you kind of just know the lay of the land?
Yeah, now as an apologist, what level is required might be different for like me as someone who likes to teach and speak and present versus a pastor who may, yes, there's teaching and speaking, but it may only find its way in one sermon. Or the member of the congregation who's just sitting and listening. How much do they need to prepare? One of the things that we should offer are further resources, right? Like at the end of books or chapters of books, sometimes you'll have further resources available. Let's share with people what sources we've been using for the people that want to go deeper, because that's a way we can equip them to go deeper and fuller for the people that want to learn more about any singular issue they might be thinking of. I am not an expert on the relationship between science and religion. I know, I'm conversant. I know that there's, the conflict hypothesis that science and religion are against each other, so there's different models for these sorts of ideas. I'm not comfortable teaching on the subject matter, but I can point you to books and names of writers of those books who are experts on the subject matter. So I think that's where, just to give one tool, it would be prepared to look at resources, books, even videos by experts, people who know what they're talking about and who have spent years studying the subject matter. That's also important because we don't want to depend on YouTube University. One of the weaknesses of these influencer types on YouTube doing apologetics is they're stuck in the content cycle and they need to come up with material to make every week, every 2 to 3 videos a week. They are not experts. They are like talk show hosts where they might be fed material. So you want to find the people that have actually spent time studying these subject matters. You don't want to find entertainers. So I wouldn't refer people to the pop level stuff, but send them to the real experts.
Here's one of my struggles. When I get in a conversation with you, I could ask you questions all day and you would get sick of answering questions before I got sick of asking them,
Yeah.
most likely. But when I come to read a book, I really struggle to, like, if I sit down with C.S. Lewis, I struggle to intellectually debate in my own mind and head and like ask questions of the argument in the midst of reading the book. It's all I can do to read it. Maybe that's just my own struggle. But, for you, like, how have you disciplined yourself to kind of interrogate a text while you're reading it?
You might pass this along to the higher ups at Tyndale. One of the ways I would interrogate a text is the footnotes, not the end notes. End notes are the apologist's greatest curse because we have to leave the page to look up the references that someone may be making. I can think of one book I was working through last year was written by Bart Ehrman.
We also publish Hendrickson Publishing has a whole academic line, and they would concur with you. So,
Yeah. So I was reading one of Bart Ehrman's books. By the way, there's probably some relation far enough
I
back.
don't think there's a relation outside of we are the only two Ehrmans to have matriculated from Wheaton College Graduate School. So hopefully I don't live up to the legacy.
Yeah, right. So some of his books are just loaded with end notes. Why is this relevant? Well, when I go to investigate some of the claims he makes, he will like reference his own book as an end note. And you look up that book and then you see he's making a claim that's hardly supported. He's citing himself. And so that's a perplexing use of the end note.
Well, maybe I will live up to that.
So that's just, the first thing that came to mind about, how do I investigate a text? I might be taking notes and making a list of other resources that an author is referencing or how they are analyzing, how a scholar is using a material. So if you're engaging with the text that engages with the text, you want to see, is this person interpreting the original author fairly and accurately? So we want to make sure we understand our opponents accurately. We want to have fair dialogue. When we don't do that, we commit a logical fallacy called straw manning. And in the internet world, I'm not sure the exact origin, but it's become popular in apologetics ministry. We want to steel man our opponents. We want to present the best argument, the best form of the argument that our opponent is presenting. We want to do that for two reasons at least. One, so our opponent knows we've understood them. The person knows, hey, we've taken the time to properly understand what they're saying and what their beliefs are, because that way people feel heard and listened to. For pastors, that's huge, right? When you want to listen to someone and you give counsel, the first thing you have to do is be quick to listen and slow to speak. The second reason why it's important that we do this is because then we are following the discussion accordingly, that if we've rightly understood them, now we are in a place to say, hey, someone, they get this right, but I think they get it wrong here, here, and here. And here are the reasons for that.